is celebrated by more than 2 billion people, and big brands seek to capture a piece of that massive market with targeted product lines and ads during the festival. But advocates say lip service once a year is simply not enough to gain their trust and their dollars.
Something seems off and it feels disingenuous. It feels like it's really just commercializing or capitalizing on a tradition, a cultural tradition that's really, really important to a group of people.
Madeline Chung, founder of advocacy group the Represent Asian Project, says it's obvious some brands are trying to capitalize on the Year of the Tiger without much thought or sensitivity.
I think because the tiger is such a cool animal, we're seeing a lot more pieces of clothing with tigers on it from brands who maybe didn't really do much for Lunar New Year before. But I think to me, what really bothers me is when these people don't put in the research or the time and effort to understand the symbolism and the meaning behind these images that they are using. The Asian community has had a really, really tough year in terms of all of this anti-Asian hate, racism, violent attacks, and you kind of think back to these brands and you think, what have they been doing for the Asian community up until this point?
A marketing expert says when brands make clumsy attempts at cashing in on culture, the consequences can be damaging long term.
It is perceived or can be seen as just insulting to the customer base. And now, of course, there is social media. So if a customer feels insulted, they are immediately tweeting it out or posting it. And that becomes a rallying cry for many, many others. And as soon as you kind of see that, then that is the only way people will then see that ad.
Chung says that if brands target specific cultural groups to sell their products, they must back up those profit-making activities with concrete allyship.
Were any Asian creatives a part of this? Did a brand hire an Asian creative, an Asian artist to design some sort of tiger imagery to put on a piece of merchandise, or did they just slap a tiger on a sweatshirt? I think it's also important to include some sort of charitable initiative. Being able to donate the proceeds from that collection to a grassroots organization is really, really important and meaningful. And then also, what does their workplace look like? Are there people of color in the top positions? Or again, are they just capitalizing on a cultural celebration in order to make bank?
Professor Davis adds that how a brand campaign is executed can be a clear indication of whether diversity and inclusion are part of a company's corporate culture or it's just a flash in the pan. For a more in-depth discussion on that and how some brands are getting it right, you can go to our website, citynews.ca. For City News, I'm Dilshad Burman.